Outdoorstaycations. In the past few days, I've done a few videos on informative videos on things like how to insulate your trailer for cold weather camping and how to empty your black and gray water tank. Both of these can be found on Outdoorstaycations.com. But I'd like to start a new series of articles called Campfire Chats. These are short stories, personal stories of my camping experience. I've been camping for about 50 years. So it's going to be a camping adventure story that I hope to begin and bring you more in later days, in later videos. This one I'm going to call Family Christmas in the Outback of Australia. Now, years ago I had the good fortune of moving myself and my family to Geelong, Australia to work for a company, United Technologies, for over a year in co-production of building a helicopter. It was a great experience and I loved it. Well, it came Christmas time, our first year away. We were there with the family, 3 small young kids, children. And it turned out that the facility was going to break down for about 3 weeks at Christmas time. They just do not work over the holidays, which is great for their country, great for their people. And I'm grateful for it because I was able to get away into the outback for 3 weeks. So after careful planning, my wife, I packed our 3 small children up, all our clothing, some camping equipment. We were going to tent throughout the outback, and all the other things you might find wrapped underneath the Christmas tree at Christmas time, and set out on our merry adventure. Well, if you don't know anything about Australia, there's not a lot of highways in Australia. There's one that really runs between Melbourne and Perth. There's one that runs between Melbourne up through Sydney up to Cairns. You jump over to the Adelaide, which is kind of in the middle. It goes all the way up to Darwin, and then from Alice Spring back over to the coast. So basically, those are the 4 main roads, and Australia is about the same size as the continental United States. So you travel on those roads. That's all there is to it. Well, like I said, our adventure began. We left Geelong where we were living and went through the Grampians, which is another nice story I'd like to tell you at a later campfire chat, and spent the first night in Adelaide. Everything went well. We set the tent up, filled it up, we slept the night. We didn't plan to do much cooking while we were camping. It was just overnight stay is what we were trying to save money on. So we get up the next morning, and to be honest, whenever you go camping, you always forget something. There's no doubt about it. You can have a checklist. You'll always forget something. I didn't remember the hammer. Well, the hammer for the tent pegs. That's all right. We throw all our stuff in the tent. There's enough weight on it. Nothing's going to happen to it. So we start unloading the tent. After we opened it up, everybody got out. We started unloading the tent, the sleeping bags. And about the last load over to the car, my oldest daughter turns around and says, Dad. And I said, what? He said, the tent. She said, the tent. And I turned around, and there goes our dome tent, just sailing away about a quarter mile away. Apparently, when you open the door, it is like a sail. And be honest, that's the last we saw of that tent. It's still somewhere in Australia. So we had a punt. At that point, we decided, well, we're going to have to stay in hotels. That's all there is to it. So we continued on our merry adventure, got to the outskirts of Adelaide on our way up to Cooper Pedy for the opal mines. And our last stop, it was Memorial. We stopped, decided everybody was thirsty to get a drink. And over there, they don't have Burger Kings. They're called Hungry Jacks. So we stopped in a Hungry Jack and picked up some sodas. And I look up, and there's a huge billboard sign that says, last fast food 460 kilometers. So, oof, what does that mean? So, a local Australian, we're all called mates, which is great because you don't have to remember a name in Australia. You're just all mates. So I said, mate, what's that about? And he looked, he says, mate, you better fill up your tank with petrol before you leave because that's the next place you're going to stop to get petrol. And I said, 460 kilometers? I said, whoa. And I looked at my tank. I had about half a tank. I said, I'm going to go fill up before I leave here. And I said, well, mate, what's that sign next to it? It's a big sign, a road sign. It has a round black circle with a black hash mark through it. I said, I've never seen that sign before. He says, mate, that means unlimited speed. I said, unlimited speed? I like this. I mean, you go whatever you want. This is like the German Autobahn. And he says, oh, yeah, mate, as fast as you want, you can go. All right, I'm liking this. So we filled up the gas, headed down the road, and sure enough, the next gas station was at Cooper Pedy. And I'm glad I filled up. I wouldn't have made it. So that was an adventure, and thing to remember in Australia, every time you hit a gas station, fill up. So Cooper Petey, we filled up like always. We pull into the gas station, and on all the pumps said, cash only. I was a little bit concerned about that. I was going to use my credit card, so I walk in and I said, I don't understand. It says cash only. He says, yes, mate, cash only. I says, why? And he says, mate, do you see a bank around here? I had no idea what he was getting at. He says, no, I don't see a bank around here. He says, mate, that's why it's cash only. I said, all right, maybe you can explain a little more. He says, mate, the nearest bank is back in Adelaide. If you use your credit card, the money goes into my bank in Adelaide. When the petrol comes in, I got to pay cash for it. So I got to go to Adelaide to get the money back to put and pay for the gas when it comes in. He says, so we just don't take cards, we take cash only. I said, well, that made perfect sense to me. Luckily, when I travel, I always keep $500 cash somewhere in the glove compartment. If you don't know me, I like being a little on the safe side and for emergencies, so I figured I would weather this one all right and apparently lock my credit cards up because they're worthless out here. So Adelaide, we decided we were going to spend the night, and the next day visit the mines and opal mines, and went to check for the nearest hotel. Now Cooper Pedy is very dusty. There's 4 or 5 small streets, shacks, just little shacks in different areas of the blocks, and find the hotel and go in to check in. And I said, sheesh, I said, what are all these shacks out here? He said, man, he said, mate, those are the opal mines. And I said, opal mines? He says, yeah, mate, they don't want you to know when they're working or if they're getting anything out. So every opening of an opal mine is covered by a shack, and they live in their little shack, and then during the day or the night they go down and they mine opals. I said, okay, that's different. So we paid for our night, go to our hotel room, which turns out to be cut in the hillside. Every room is underground, and when I mean underground, when you walk in, the walls are dirt. There were bunk beds for the kids, a bed for us, and dirt walls. Hard pack, because like I said, it's clay down there, so it's hard pack clay. All right, so we started laying everything out, and we looked, and sheesh, around some of the walls and on the floor were the biggest, nastiest bugs you've ever seen. Centipede kinds, legs, arms, pincers, all of them about that big. And I don't think this is going to work. The kids were all sitting on their bunks. They wouldn't get off it. They were just like squeamish, and I don't blame them. These guys were mean looking. So my wife tells me to go back out and see what I can do about it. So I go back to the hotel clerk that was there. And as I walk in, I see a whole series of the red plastic cups, a whole pile of them on the counter. Didn't think anything of it. So I walk up and I said, mate, we have a problem. And he said, what's that? I said, bugs, the biggest bugs you've ever seen. He said, yeah, mate. I said, well, what do I do about them? He pushes over a pile of about a dozen of the red drinking cups. He says, you catch them and you throw them out. I said, oh, this is going to go over good. So I pick up my pile of red cups, the like 12-ounce ones that you get in Walmart. Go down and I handed each kid 2 cups, and they're running around catching bugs, and we're throwing them out far away, and finally we get the place fully clear of bugs. All right, that was an hour-long project, but the kids had fun at it. So after about an hour, we get ready. So, all right, it's time to go for supper. So I get the kids dressed. We head to the door, open up the door, and every single one of those damn bugs ran back in again. Apparently, underneath the door, there's a little strip where the cool air comes from outside, and they all line up along the door frame. So the minute you open the door, in they run. I said, oh, we'll take care of this later. And let's go off to eat. So we went out to get something to eat. Came back. Bugs are running all over the place. We tried catching them this time, throwing them out, but every time we threw one out, 2 would come in. So the only way to get through a night's sleep is actually what we did is we knocked them all off the walls to the floor and put a cup on it, every one of them. So they ran around all night. You hear go, and the cup's running around the floor. And you wake up and you see all these cups moving around the floor, and everyone had a bug underneath it. I said it was quite hysterical, but we got through it. And be honest, we left the next day. We went to the to the opal mines, and them cups are still running around the floor to this day, as far as I know of. Nice visit to the opal mines. Not much to talk about. We went through some hard-packed earth tunnels to look at opal. Got that done. Well, the real focus on this video is, like I said, is family Christmas in the Outback. So our next stop, we were going to spend Christmas Eve and Christmas Day was up at Ayers Rock. And if you've ever seen Ayers Rock, it is just a rock in the middle Sorry for the interruption. My son came in, so I stopped it or paused it for a second. Going back to, it's just a big rock in the middle of the desert, and you can climb it, but we'll talk about that a little later. But the goal of it is we were going to spend Christmas Eve and Christmas morning in a hotel room in Ayers Rock. Well, it was a very pleasant place, swimming pool, had a large hotel on one side, and on the other had almost like a small hotel, single rooms around three sides of the pool. We had a single room on the side of the pool. Very, very nice. My wife had brought all the crafts to make a Christmas tree, and the Christmas tree is just going to be a paper one that we're going to hang on the door. And of course, all the other stuff was still hidden away in the car. We had a nice swim in the pool, and then therefore we were approached by one of the staff, and one of the staff members said, "Look," he says, "what are you doing tonight?" And I said, "Well, we're just, it's Christmas Eve. We'll be hanging around waiting for the Christmas Day." And they said, "We're doing Christmas carols tonight at 11:30. You're welcome to join us." And I said, "Well, that'd be most pleasant. Yeah, I think we'll come." So it got toward about 11 o'clock, and about 11:10, all the lights started going out around the hotel, all the exterior lights, the pool lights. You were asked to close your curtains on your windows if you weren't going to participate, and even if you were, turn your lights off in your room. And we walked out into the desert, and as we walked out, there was a large group standing there, and we were handed a tall white single candle that was lit, and realistically started singing Christmas carols, which was very nice. We're under the stars, a million stars, pitch black. The nearest light couldn't have been less than 100 miles away. 40 or 50 of us were singing. The staff, the guests, lasted till about midnight, and the last song was Silent Night, which was just perfect for the occasion. Well, as it goes, the next morning we got up, and Santa had come, and there was presents underneath our paper tree, and the hotel staff had nicely hung three candy cane encompassed stockings on the tree for the kids. They opened up their stockings and had a wonderful, wonderful Christmas in the outback of Australia. And I thank the staff to this day for the memory that they've given us. If you like this video, like I said, I'll be doing more campfire chats in the future. If you like this, please hit the like button. Feel free to send it on to others as a Christmas story. Share it with your friends. Ring the bell at the bottom. Sign up. If I get 100 people on the YouTube channel, I get to have my own YouTube channel, which would be kind of cool. And I can send you more campfire chats, camping adventure stories, and more informative stories as I post them. So Outdoorstaycations, post it. And by the way, if you happen to be in the outback of Australia and you see a maroon dome tent float by, it's mine. Happy holidays.